Hi, I'm Sudeep Muterath, Senior Principal Architect in Kin Carta. Welcome back to our series on Azure Spring Apps. In this video, we will cover the application observability and the tools to ensure that your applications in Azure Spring Apps are performing as expected. For this, let me welcome back Mike Richter from Microsoft and invite Paul Pelafas from Kin Carta.
Hello, I'm Paul Pelafas, Senior Principal Architect at Kin Carta.
And I'm Mike Richter, a Principal Cloud Solution Architect at Microsoft.
Azure provides you with many of the essential features out of the box or with very little configuration to give you the confidence needed to manage your Azure Spring apps in production. Let's talk about Azure Application Insights first.
Sure, so App Insights is a cloud-native app monitoring solution that can help customers observe failures, find bottlenecks, and see usage patterns in their apps that are deployed in Azure Spring Apps. And App Insights is really powerful, but it's also really easy to use. Customers use it to collect and analyze and visualize telemetry data from their Java applications. They use it to troubleshoot their issues, to optimize the app performance, to understand users' behavior, and ultimately it improves their own user or their own end customers' satisfaction. Now, at its core, App Insights provides you with a unified view of your app's health and your app's performance, and it can do that across different environments and in different regions. It's got proactive alerting, it's got some AI-powered features like smart detection that really help you find problems before they can really start to affect the app and the user experience. And App Insights now supports Java apps out of the box. You can start getting detailed telemetry from Java applications without having to instrument your application. And there's a ton more about App Insights, but I'll just end by saying that like every other Azure service, you only pay for what you use with App Insights.
Monitoring for Azure Spring App provides you with the tools to ensure your application's reliability and performance, including metrics, alerting, and logging. Basic monitoring is available for your team day one for Azure Spring Apps with no additional configuration for your apps. Let's jump into the portal and look at insights and monitoring. Great, so we're going to drop right into our resource group here, and you can see that we have our Azure Spring Apps configured for our pet clinic, and we've pre-configured application insights in here prior to the video. You've seen it in the previous video with Travis, like he was able to do that in Terraform, so we have that available to us in our resource group today. So we're going to jump right into the application insights. And you can see right away we're greeted with some metrics right on our dashboard. This is actually the overview screen, so we're going to be able to see some important information about our application right away, including failed requests and some availability metrics. We have the ability to change those time sets. So this is all really great information for us right on our overview. What I like to show is that we have the ability to launch right into an application dashboard, which gives us a lot of information about all of our applications running in Azure Spring Apps. So this is an important tool if you had engineering teams or product teams that are co-located. This might be a view that would be great to show up on a monitor for your teams to see how their applications are performing. Also, there's an additional full screen button, so it makes it even more convenient for your teams to have this available to them at all times.
And you can totally customize this, right?
For sure. We can add different dashboards. I'll show you how to do that later in one of the other sections. And then we've got quick links here in the dashboard to our live metrics, our app maps, all of that kind of stuff is great. So we will go back and we won't get into all the different things in Insights, but you can see we have a number of tools here over to the left. And the first one we're going to take a look at is our application map. This is a great way to view all of the applications running in your Azure Spring Apps, see all the dependencies, see service calls that are happening, and like what type of response times we're seeing. This is a great view right off the bat for just kind of understanding your application and its dependencies.
Yeah, you can really see how long these calls from each service. So if you're looking for bottlenecks, you can kind of see that very clearly here. Yeah.
Great. Next, we're going to take a look at live metrics, which is a great tool to see what's happening in real time. So as you can see, these are flowing in through the telemetry. You can see over to the right. These are happening in real time. So we've got our servers to the bottom, and you might notice that we've got a couple API gateways and a couple customer service applications. That's because we've scaled these out, and we'll see all the different instances in this view. We've actually fired off some load towards these applications at this time, so we're going to see some spikes in the incoming requests, which is cool. We get to see this happen in real time and react to it.
Yeah, you start to see those dependency calls starting to slow down a little bit as we add the load. Very cool.
For sure. Another great feature of insights and monitoring is the ability to take a look at your failures and have this view aggregated to see what types of failures we're seeing in our applications. So over to the right, we can notice that we have the top 3 exception types, happen to be quite a few like timeout exceptions. That's the way we configured our load to like fire at these things. But let's hone that into the last hour, and we can change these time slices. Now we can see quite a fewer exceptions. This view is really important for application teams to be able to be a little bit more proactive with their apps and see kind of what's going on and like take response to these exceptions and be able to fix those in real time. We've got another performance view, which is fantastic to see the response time on our endpoints. So we have like kind of the overall response time in a chart up at the top. Down at the bottom, we can see the individual calls that are happening and the response time for each of those. And then those will be distributed into a range over to the right. So we have a lot of different views to get to information that's important for our product teams to be able to manage their applications. The last couple bits in here that I want to be able to show off for you are under the monitoring section over here to the right. We've got alerts, metrics, and logs, all of which are really important as application teams. So the first one I'm going to show you is alerts. And as you might notice, we haven't had any alerts fire in the past 24 hours. That's fantastic. But we do have the ability to create new alerts. And I'll show you how that works. We go in here. We have the create alert rules. We can add a condition. And these signals are over to the left. We can select any of these. And then, we're going to want to change our operator or the threshold value for these. What's great after we've done so is then we have the ability to take action on any of those alerts. So we can set up action groups, and those action groups can have responses tied to those and what happens when any of those thresholds are met. So in this particular instance, we've set up one action group, and this is the pet clinic action group. You can configure that to be emailed or have alerts fired at them. So all of this is really allowing your teams to be both proactive and reactive when things happen.
Right, so like a scenario would be if your page is taking more than 5 seconds to load for the past 5 minutes, go create a ServiceNow ticket, right, to go get it solved. You could build all of that with these alerts.
Absolutely, yeah, and you can chain things together, so you can fire off PagerDuty or something like that, and fire off emails and different things, ServiceNow tickets. There's tons and tons of different events that you can do.
I like that because whatever workflow you're used to from whatever environment you're coming from, you don't have to give that up, right? You can continue to have that same operational process even when you move to Azure and Azure Spring Apps.
That's right. Like you'll get all the things that you're used to in kind of out of the box here for Azure Spring Apps in Insights and Monitoring. The next bit is metrics, and we are able to create custom metrics if we choose so and add them to our dashboard. So you can see here that we have the ability to change namespaces and the different metric type. Maybe this one's about availability. And then we have the ability off to the right to save that to that dashboard that you saw at the top of this. And the last bit, which is really important, is being able to take a look at all of this through your logs. So logs are a common way that application teams use to diagnose problems with the applications. Microsoft and Azure Spring Apps, or using Azure Spring Apps in Azure, we have the ability to get these logs right out of the box. Microsoft has many of these common kind of queries like pre-configured for you. So you're able to quickly run these without like a lot of like operationalizing your different production queries to ensure your application is performant.
And what I love about these queries is that they're all Custo queries right here, right? So you can take these and then modify them as you need to. And what's also great about Azure is that all the fields, all the data that you might be producing in these logs, some of that might be sensitive, and you can have very granular permissions on who can query what fields in log analytics. So there's a ton of enterprise level features for security compliance inside of App Insights as well.
Yep. And like we have the ability to customize those queries, like you said. So we have the standard queries out of the box, and we can further fine grain, control those as you mentioned.
Yeah, and output them as charts too, right? Not just tables, but as charts as well. So very cool.
Excellent. Thanks for taking a look at Insights and Monitoring with us.
All right, we're back. Paul, it was really cool, right? Looking at App Insights and looking at all of those visualizations that you get just kind of out of the box with App Insights for that Java app that we didn't even have to do anything to get those insights. So what did we see today? We saw Azure Monitoring with Application Insights. We saw all of the telemetry that gets generated. We looked at the metrics. We looked at the logging that generates, and we looked at the alerting that we could do all with App Insights. Pretty cool.
Thanks for joining us today, and we hope you've seen how easy it is to configure Application Insights and Monitoring for your Azure Spring Apps to provide your team the necessary tools you need to build products your consumers will love. The TLDR here is Microsoft has your observability covered for your Azure Spring Apps. At Kin Carta, we partner closely with Microsoft to help your organization build the solutions that provide you with the business value needed to achieve your objectives. We'd love to hear from you and how we can help achieve yours. Link to get started in the notes of this video. Thank you.